G'day guys, Rukshan here. Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to the news vlog. As promised, I've got updates from Davos this week and some news stories from Australia. So overnight, Klaus Schwab, the chairman of the WEF, the founder, Dr. Evil, Darth Vader, he's got all sorts of other vulgar names that people describe him as. I can't use those terms. But he gave his opening remarks about the paradigm shift that he wants to foster at the World Economic Forum this year. And the whole theme this year from the World Economic Forum is rebuilding trust. So let's have a listen in to Klaus's opening remarks about this.
We need a paradigm shift. We must rebuild trust, and that's actually the theme of our meeting. We have to rebuild trust. Trust in our future, trust in our capacity to overcome challenges, and most importantly, trust in each other.
You get the idea. He goes on for a few minutes talking about trust, trusteeships, and ways that governments and institutions and people and communities can rebuild trust by working together. Again, this is this high-level, airy-fairy stuff that they present, but there is a bit of a somber mood this year at the WEF. Even Klaus Schwab, I feel like he knows the gig is up, right? I feel like he knows that in the wider community, this institution has lost a great deal of clout and trust. People ask me from Australia who's gone from the government. I think no one has gone from the Australian government, or any politicians have gone from this country. And there are also many other countries who have not sent delegations from what I've looked into. The only person from Australia that's there on any type of official capacity, I believe, is Kevin Rudd, who is the US ambassador. Right, he's there. So no other Australians. But what I'm trying to point out is that people, especially leaders in other countries who are in politics, might not necessarily want to be seen at the World Economic Forum anymore, because constituents, the general public, look at that and ask them, why are you there with these people who hate us? Right? That's the general perception. There's a lot of lack of trust of the World Economic Forum. So it's very interesting to hear Klaus Schwab go on about trust when maybe he's talking about the World Economic Forum themselves. But, you know, the World Economic Forum, when they talk about rebuilding trust, it's not as nice as it sounds when you actually start to pay attention. And that's what I was doing, listening to the rest of the conference throughout the day. Now, they had many talks on lots of different topics, but the key area of interest for me when I'm watching Davos and bringing you this coverage is to identify what their overall grand scheme or grand plan is for the rest of us. And it didn't take long to find out that rebuilding trust actually meant something that's not so great for us. So I'm going to play this video from the president of the European Commission, Ursula van something, right? Sorry, I mispronounced her name probably. So I'm going to play this video, right? And this is what she has to say. And this is how they're going to rebuild trust. Listen.
Dear Klaus.
I just want to pause it there. Dear Klaus. Let's keep playing.
Let me go back to the number one concern of the Global Risk Report: disinformation and misinformation. Tackling this has been our focus since the very beginning of my mandate. With our Digital Services Act, we defined the responsibilities of large internet platforms on the content they promote and propagate, a responsible to children and vulnerable groups targeted by hate speech, but also a responsibility to our societies as a whole. Because the boundary between online and offline is getting thinner and thinner. And the values we cherish offline should also be protected online. And this is even more important in this new era of generative AI. Now, the World Economic Forum Global Risk Report puts artificial intelligence as one of the top potential risks for the next decade.
So yes, I kid you not, she started this speech off by saying that the most important issue in the business world right now for governments and industry to consider is around defeating misinformation and disinformation. She said it's more important than conflicts which are happening around the world. It's more important than any other issue. Number one issue for these people right now is tackling misinformation and disinformation. Consider that with what's happening in Australia, we have the misinformation, disinformation bill. We have these attacks, frankly, on free speech happening all around the world, particularly against certain platforms. Now, you might think because I'm in the tech space and I use these platforms like X and I'm really interested in this topic, that's why I'm talking about this. But no, these people are seriously paying attention to this. And this other mention that they talk about AI, a massive theme of the World Economic Forum this year is on AI. And I was listening to one of the conferences actually, and they were talking about AI tools to do fact checking, to do pretty much censorship tools, right? And they're talking about how the media can use those tools to ensure democracy and election integrity and these type of concepts. Now, on the face of it, doesn't seem like a bad idea to use these tools. But when you mirror that up to the fact that it's these same people that want to control the narrative, that want to control these social media companies that we depend on really to communicate with each other in the modern world, you start to see the pattern emerging, particularly as they are now saying that it's the most dangerous threat in the world right now. Dangerous threat to who? Misinformation, disinformation. It's only very recently we have been hearing non-stop about these two words. So really, for me personally, probably since the 2016, 2020 election period, that time, when we really started to see this propagate our media here as well, related to different news stories. And now it's become the major thing as people have moved away from taking government sources as the be-all and end-all of everything, taking official sources like we saw during the COVID pandemic, the information that we're getting from the government-fed narrative or the government-backed pharmaceutical companies. Once people started looking elsewhere, that's when they really started to get worried about people getting information freely and openly and sharing ideas. So now, the most important thing over the next 2 years is tackling this. And the World Economic Forum, from what I've been watching, really hones down on this issue. And I think we've got to keep an eye on it, because in Australia, they're going to come after us, right? They're going to come after us on these issues. Now, there was another topic that they brought up that I'll bring up. And this was around, the environmental issues, right? So World Economic Forum is always talking about climate change. It's always talking about how, people have impacted the world. And of course, these are the guys that fly there in their jets. But a new term came up today that's been widely discussed, and this is ecocide. So let's have a listen to what ecocide is.
I mean, ecocide as a word is becoming better known around the world, and the concept is generally mass damage and destruction of nature. But legally speaking, what our organisation and other collaborators aim to do is to have this recognised legally as a serious crime. Because one of the issues that sort of pervades all of this discussion is that we have a kind of cultural, very ingrained habit of not taking damage to nature as seriously as we take damage to people and property. And that, if you're campaigning for human rights, at least mass murder, torture, all of these things are serious crimes. But there's no equivalent in the environmental space. Unlike an international crime like genocide that involves a specific intent, with ecocide, what we see is actually what people are trying to do, what businesses are trying to do, is make money, is farm, is fish, is do all of these things that are producing energy and so on as well. But what's missing is the awareness and the conscience around the side effects, around the collateral damage that happens with that.
So yeah, they want to charge farmers with ecocide for fishing, for farming. You can hear the language already developing around this type of concept. So take this issue with what I was discussing around misinformation, disinformation. We can see how the future is developing. Right now in Germany, as I discussed a few episodes back, you have these massive farmer protests. You've had it in Netherlands and other parts of Europe as well. These industries are being heavily impacted right now by government regulation and policy, whereas at the same time at the World Economic Forum, these type of concepts about criminalizing damage to the environment through farming and fishing are becoming more widely discussed. So I thought that was an interesting one. And the last thing that I want to show you from the World Economic Forum is This video you might have seen. Now I'm going to play it now, and we're going to have a bit of a laugh watching it. Let's have a look.
And I appreciate the World Economic Forum providing me the opportunity to be on this stage and say, fuck you, Klaus Schwab, and fuck your New World Order. We, the people, were born free, we will stay free, and you and all of your globalist friends, including everyone in this room, can go fuck yourself.
Look, that's very funny. It's very well edited and put together. But unfortunately, it's a satire, it's parody. As much as it is true, and as much as it is what we probably all want to say to Klaus Schwab and the people there, that is a parody by Damon Imani, who makes these kind of memes and parody skits. And he's done a really good job because it actually spread like wildfire. People saying, oh my God, someone just got up at the WEF forum and told Klaus Schwab to go F himself. Look, it's great, it's hilarious. But unfortunately, it's not true. Now, coming back to Australia and some news from here, I saw this on the Twitter a couple of days ago, and this is a job advert, a tender that they've put out, a Brisbane council. It's very interesting. I'm going to read this to you. Southeast Queensland offence detection system. All right, council is seeking proposals for an offence detection system that will provide council compliance officers with a centralized cloud-based system that uses advanced artificial intelligence and machine learning capabilities to detect a variety of non-compliant activities occurring in the Brisbane area. These could range from illegal parking, building work and footpath activities, footway trip hazards, noise complaints, illegal dumping to graffiti, and are detected through different methods such as vehicle-mounted cameras, stationary cameras, satellite imagery, decibel meters, and more. Council requires a streamlined capability to detect non-compliant activity within its boundaries to meet the objectives outlined in the Brisbane Vision, our accessible, connected city strategy. Can you imagine? That's called the Brisbane Vision, our accessible, connected city strategy, and it's all centered around this surveillance through using AI to make it easier for the councils to watch you through artificial intelligence, to get you, to fine you for parking, for all manner of things that they've labeled in this. And look, this is at the council level, but these things were being discussed at the World Economic Forum not that long ago, and today, just like the things they're discussing, they eventually get rolled out, because this is the pipeline, right? And again, this is very scary stuff, what this council is doing. Let me know your thoughts on this particular thing that's come up. I think it's ridiculous. Now we have this story in Australia. I think it's quite a sick story. You may have seen it in the news. These kids, these teens, these 14-year-olds pushing over some old bloke. I think he was 79 years old, standing on a pier as a prank and filming themselves and uploading it. And this 79-year-old man couldn't even swim. They pushed him into the water. And luckily, well, it is very sad, but luckily there were people there that rescued him and took him out of the water. Now these kids, this kid who has been charged now, this 14-year-old kid who's been found, was actually out on bail for assaulting someone a few months prior to that. There is a massive issue with these delinquent idiots running around in Victoria, especially committing crimes. Other day I saw a story in the western suburbs at a shopping centre, 2 teen gangs getting together and having a machete fight. This is becoming more and more common when you turn on the news, and it's this younger generations who are doing this kind of activity. Sick stuff. And I think this kid should have the book thrown at him. I know he's young or whatever, but to actually go and push people, old people, into the water, it's tantamount to almost trying to kill the guy. Really, these are dangerous people, and I don't think our system actually has the correct, guardrails in place right now to handle these type of people. Crazy stuff. And the last story that I wanted to discuss with you guys is, of course, around WokeWorths. Woolworths. I've been giving you rolling updates about WokeWorths over the last couple of days, and the latest one is the fact that there is some news going around that WokeWorths has lost $2 billion in values in the stock market since their decision to can Australia Day. Now, technically, there is some truth to this if we look at the timeline where the value of the stocks have gone down, but as the news stories which are coming out to fact check this now are saying, this was already on trend and this is related to other things, not necessarily related to the boycott. But who knows? I'd like to think that the boycott has had some part to play in Woolworths losing a bit of money. Again, guys, thank you for joining in for this news coverage. Let me know if there's any news stories that you want me to cover. I do read the comments. I haven't been able to reply as much as I'd like to this week because I've been doing other work, and honestly, watching the WEF conferences every day, it takes a lot out of me, because I think yesterday they had about 20 or 25 actual individual talks, and they go for about an hour each. And I probably got through half of them while I was doing other work. So it's a lot of work. I got to do it again today. So please feel sorry for me to have to listen to Klaus Schwab and his mates going on about rebuilding trust. But it's important we keep an eye on them. If you're enjoying my work and my news coverage, please consider subscribing to my channels. You can, of course, follow me here on YouTube. Hit the notification bell if you want to find out when I actually upload a video. You can follow me on Twitter or X, where Elon Musk actually liked or actually commented on one of my messages again today about the WEF misinformation, disinformation. So regulars with Elon now, maybe. And also you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, what else? Odyssey, and Rumble as well. So keep an eye out on for me on there at The Real Rukshan. I'm slurring my speech now. I'll see you guys soon. Cheers. Bye.